friend, I'm Erin. Welcome to my channel. If we have not yet met, I am a military spouse and teacher turned photographer, and I love helping fellow Milspouse photographers build businesses that thrive despite frequent moves. And I am here today with my friend Tove Hansen, who is a fellow Milspouse photographer who I connected with in the Portraits for Patriots community, as well as in our Photographers Changing Stations community. So, Tova, welcome. Super excited to have you today and to get to chat all things school photos.
Thank you very much. Excited to be here.
Yeah. Can you start with just like your normal military spouse intro? You like bump into somebody at a spouse's event and you're like, hey, where are you from? What's your connection? Those kind of things. Just tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been married to my husband for 15 years. We've been together almost 18 years. He's in the Air Force and he has just hit the button. So we are transitioning
Yay.
actively onto the next stage of life. He has been in the maintenance world. So we've been around fighter jets the majority of his
Okay.
career and lived. We met in Arizona and then we went to North Carolina, England, Idaho, Germany, and now we're in Illinois, but we are soon moving back to England. And we've been through all the deployments and all the TDYs, and I it's been an adventure, but I'm also very ready for the stability of the non-military
Yes.
lifestyle.
I think we all are like, what's that going to be like? There's a lot of,
Yeah.
just like, ooh, you know the adventure for so long, but eventually, yeah, you kind of hit the point where you're like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think we were all just getting a little bit tired of moving, and we've done in the past 5, is this right? 5 years. We've had 3 international moves, and
Okay.
we'll be doing 2 international moves in an 8-month time span. So like we're very tired and ready for
Yes,
to be able
totally.
to put down some roots for sure.
Where did your business start in all of this?
So it started in England, which is
Okay.
England is like my love of a lifetime. It is my favorite place. And
Oh,
I think because my business was born there, 2 of my kids were born there. Um, and then I've had to transition it to different countries and different states in
yeah.
that time as well. Yeah.
That's amazing. I would love to hear a little bit about that. I have, I've had to move quite a few times, but all of our moves have been domestic so far. And the thought of running my business in another country is overwhelming, to say the least. And I would imagine that there are other people in our community who feel similarly. What advice or anything would you have to share for someone who's coming up on a OCONUS PCS?
I think for me, starting in England, I was actually really lucky.
Okay.
In my experience, that's been one of the easiest places to start a business.
Interesting.
Their rules are, yeah, which I was unexpected. I had never run a business before. I'd always had
Sure.
corporate jobs, basically.
Okay.
So I was like, no, I want to start this photography thing. So there, if you are somebody that's going to England, establish yourself as an English business, which is what I did. So I had went through their whole tax system and all of that.
Mhm.
And they've got amazing resources for that. So I went to what's called a job center and I was like, hi, I'm a photographer and I want to start my business. They're like, great, fill this out and do this, this, and this, and
Amazing.
you're good to go. The other really cool thing is any amount of like, as long as you make under 12,600 pounds a year, you don't pay taxes. So
Wow.
there's no taxes due, which is really crazy. And then after that, um, if you're running your own business, you can hire an accountant and they will take care of everything. But it's really straightforward. It's not like in the States where you constantly have like think the IRS man is
It's like
gonna
gonna
hunt
knock
you
on your
down and
door
get
and you're
you.
like, I'm trying
Yes.
to do the right thing. I promise. I just might not know what the right
Yeah.
thing is.
So that was like a really great and lucky introduction to being a business owner. And
Yeah.
then we moved to Idaho and I actually felt really lost on how to do that in the States because we've got different
Yeah.
structures. Like, do I want to be an LLC or sole proprietor? Are you going to go big and do C Corp? Like
Yeah.
there was so many questions and I felt like all of the resources that were easily available and easy to find were a little bit trickier to do in the States. And
Gotcha.
additionally, this happened right when COVID kicked off. So it just made it even crazier. Um, from there, we moved to Germany, which is absolutely the hardest place that I've ever had to set up a
I
business.
have
So
heard that.
yes, really, really tricky. So my advice, if you are in particular a mill spouse that's about to go overseas, is research where you're going. You can start on the spouses page. I think that's what most of us
Yeah.
do. We go look for the spouses page and find the local photographers. I know where we were at in Germany at Ramstein, there's a photographer called Sarah Haven, and I think she's in our
Yeah.
group,
She is.
Photographers Changing Station.
Yep.
She was an incredible resource. She's German, so she knew the system, but
Okay.
she was married to, I think he's retired now, military member, but she had put together a whole blog post about how to establish a photography business in Germany. And having somebody lay it out for you was incredible. It was kind of like the resources that I had received in England.
Yeah.
So I would say find people that are doing it
Mhm.
and ask questions, but then also do your own research, because
Sure. Trust but
the other thing
verify,
I've
right?
yeah, trust but verify, because you'll also find people that are like, well, I think it's fine this way. And I'm somebody that wants to follow the rules,
Mhm.
because my worst nightmare is that I don't, and then it somehow affects my family, especially being
Yes.
overseas. You don't want to jeopardize your ability to be in country or your SOFA status or anything. So
Sure.
yeah, trust but verify, and lean on the community, lean on the other photographers that are already there. Go into Photographers Changing Stations. It's growing by the day, and it's such
So
an incredible
exciting.
resource. So yeah, thank you
Yeah,
for setting it up, because
you were one
it's
of our
huge.
like founding members, and so it's so fun now. I like go in and it's like, oh, new membership requests, and I like I'm just watching the number grow, and it's very fun. Recently, just when we were doing the big database update push,
Hmm.
we had a lot of new members come in during that time, and now I'm just seeing people like, hey, I'm heading to this place. Is anyone there to help me?
Yeah,
And like that's literally what it's for, and so it's very cool to see that that's happening.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's really helpful. Awesome. Well, I know that you primarily shoot schools now, right? Doing school
Yep.
photography. Is that where you started initially, or did you kind of find your way into that niche along the way? What has that looked like?
I did find my niche along the way. So when I first started, I was really, really passionate about documentary photography.
Okay.
I am not I'm not really great, nor am I super interested in posing. I
Okay.
just am drawn to true, kind of more candid photojournalistic moments. And so that's
Hmm.
how I started. Um, and additionally, like some business branding, but it was again more for photojournalistic style branding images, like action shots of people
Okay.
doing their jobs.
Sure.
And then my eldest was in preschool, and they were wanting to create some sort of like a yearbook for the preschool. And I was like, I can help with that. So I offered to do I'm going to put this in quotes, school photos of the preschoolers. Then it's horrifying to go look at those photos now,
Oh
but
my
it's
gosh.
also like really endearing, because we all have to start somewhere.
Totally.
School photos are a whole different beast than any other type of photography. And luckily it was a small preschool. So, but just, it was like baptism by fire. I had to figure it out. So the preschool was so sweet, and they're like, oh, we'll make a backdrop. So they had all the kids put their handprints on this
Oh, that's fun.
piece of fabric, which was fun, except that it turned into this like really like deathly flesh colored backdrop that was
Oh
super wrinkled. It was
no.
horrifying. So we put that up, and we were in England, so it was a teeny tiny little space. I had like I was kind of in a trailer, which was the entire preschool. So shoved in this little corner,
Yeah.
no lights because there was nowhere to put them. So I was trying to use
Mhm.
window light, and it was a really overcast day. So it was just horribly, horribly dark, poor light. And I took the pictures and learned a ton,
Yes.
and
Yes.
tried to, rather than getting it perfect in camera, I was like, I can edit it. So learned a lot from that
That
first
was
one.
probably
And
a
then
nightmare
from
too.
it was a nightmare, yes. And then I had to sort out like making individual galleries for everybody, and sending out the individual emails, and doing the prints, and delivering the prints, and packaging the print, like all of it.
Yeah.
It was a one woman job, and I the next year offered to do it again, and I learned and I learned and I learned. And now recently, like when we left Germany, I was up to 6 full-size Department of Defense schools, and
Wow.
I was the sole photographer. I think in total, in like the course of a month or so, I photographed over 3,000 heads, and everything is automated now, and I have lights, and I have systems in place. So
You
it's
went from
grown
like the
from the
horror
beginning.
story of this
Yeah.
tiny preschool in a closet to like, the
Yes.
full
Yeah.
professional setup.
All trial and error, and it's been a really
Wow.
fun journey. It's fun to look back on your growth, because you don't necessarily
Yes.
see it when you're in the moment, but
Yeah.
when you step back, you're like, wow, like I did that, and I've learned, and I've grown, and
Yeah.
now I can share that with other people, which is really cool.
That's amazing. What programs do you use? You said everything's automated now. What I don't do
Yep.
anything with school photography, so I'm curious what that looks like.
There's lots of options. So I've used two different programs. The first one is called Got Photo. The other one, I think they just changed their name. It used to be called Blueprint. I think it's called Captura now.
Okay.
And that allows you to get a list of student names from the school. So they'll give you student name, ID number, preferably a parent email.
Hmm.
And then you put that into the program and it generates a QR code for each student. So
Okay.
on picture day, I have and then I organize those QR codes by class or however the students are going to come down. And I take a picture of the QR code before each student. Then I photograph them. And on the back end, I go into Lightroom, cull, edit,
Hmm.
export, chuck that into Got Photo, and it generates the individual galleries. I've got my email marketing campaign already set, and it
Okay.
pushes all of that out automatically.
That's
It
awesome.
takes the orders, it sends it to the lab ships it to the parents. So once I'm done photographing, it's on to the next one. I've done everything on the front end, so I can just set it and forget it, which is way different than how I started. But
Yes.
that's the key to scaling your business for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense. My daughter recently had pictures taken for her softball team, and listening to you saying what this looks like, I'm like, that's totally what she was using to
Yeah,
send all. There's a
it's kind
QR
of
code, there's an email, the whole thing. That makes sense.
the industry standard for that when you're
Yes.
when you're doing volume photography. You've got to have
Yes.
automation because you can't go in individually and do it.
Totally. And what does editing look like for you? Are you able to like nail it pretty well in camera with, standard lighting setups, or do you find you have to do a lot of editing still?
So the goal always is to get it right in camera because you figure, at least for my galleries, I try to give at least 2 or 3 images per student,
Okay.
especially like middle school, high school. My younger kids, I'll go 5 or 6 images per
Sure.
gallery. So that adds up to tens of thousands of
Yeah.
images by
Quickly.
by the end of the month. So as much as possible, lighting, framing, cropping, all of that in camera is good to go. I also want parents to get the image as finished as possible. I don't want a parent saying, "Hey, could you edit this out?"
Sure.
So if it's my rule of thumb is if it's a mark or a bump or something that's going to disappear in a couple weeks, I will do a quick little swipe and edit that out. If it's
Okay.
a permanent feature of their face, I don't really touch that.
Sure.
So I personally look at every single image. It's quick at this point.
Hmm.
I've been doing it for about
Yeah.
8 years. So I know in camera, like, okay, this will be fine. Or you can kind of angle them a little bit. But yeah, it would just be just like if somebody scratched their face, like that often happens, or maybe they came after
Gotcha.
lunch, I might take a little bit of the
Right.
spaghetti off their face.
That's nice of you.
Yeah. And then that's it. For my seniors, I do a lot more. That's more of like a high-end editing because it's such a
Yeah.
monumental moment. So they'll
Yeah.
get a little more boutique experience in terms of final
Okay.
image.
And do you do just seniors in studio like that, or do you actually like go out and do senior photos if people want them somewhere else?
I am only a school photographer. That
Okay.
is the only thing that no families, no like on-site portraits or anything like that. Every once in
Okay.
a while I'll do a military event, which is really fun. But yeah,
Sure.
primarily just schools.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about what picture day looks like? You said for this first one that you did, it was a one woman show and there was no equipment or anything. Obviously other than your camera, but what does it look like now when you go to into school? Are you still by yourself or do you have a team with you?
So pretty much it's just me.
Okay.
A lot of school picture day happens before, so it's prepping those all of the data the school sends, getting the QR codes ready,
Hmm.
organizing it all, making sure that I've got my kit ready. So I try to bring the least amount of stuff as possible because you turn into a bit of a pack mule bringing
Yes.
bringing that into school. I was overseas for my larger schools. I was in Germany, and so it's a little bit trickier finding people who can help with base
Mm,
access. And then there's the whole like, are you working on the German side? Are you working on the American side?
sure.
So I pretty much it was just me. I would bring in my equipment, so backdrop, lights, camera, tripod. And I relied heavily on parent volunteers. So they would make
Okay.
sure that the students came down, they're organized, they check that hair and everything's good to go. And
Yeah.
then maybe 30 to 40 seconds per student. And I just shoot
That's
like
quick.
picture, picture, picture all day long.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So from about 7 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, I'm either
Okay.
setting up or photographing the kids. Yeah.
Wow. And how often are you doing this?
So it's a seasonal thing, which is
Yeah.
really nice. Most of my schools, they want September or October to have their yearbook photos done.
Okay.
And then in the spring, you'll also get, maybe the elementary schools will want spring photos, and then you might do
Hmm.
some makeup photos. You could also do sports photos in the spring, but the
Okay.
bulk of the work is September, October timeframe.
Gotcha. One thing I noticed on your website that I feel like I have to specifically call out is what a good job you seem to do with kids who are in their awkward years. If I'm allowed to say that, I remember back,
Absolutely.
when I was a kid, was I will never forget when my mom and I were preparing for my high school graduation party. We had the big trifold board with all of our school pictures on it, and we pulled out the ones from like sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, and I'm like, Mom, we can't put those on there. So we just like printed off a Google black and white silhouette of this little girl and just wrote awkward years on it. And we're like, we're not showing those. But I feel like with what I've seen on your website, if you would have been my photographer, maybe I would have been able to show those pictures. So tell me your secrets to working with that age group.
Okay, first and foremost, I think that I've just been super lucky to have kids who are just gorgeous. And
Okay.
also consider when we were in middle school versus kids in middle school now, I didn't know about skincare. I
Sure.
barely knew how to brush my hair. I looked like a thumb. So, and they're just like perfectly put together. So
Yes.
they do, a lot of the credit goes to the students.
Yeah.
But I also firmly believe that every kid has something about them that's really endearing. They've all got
Mhm.
parents who adore and love them.
Yeah.
That child is adored and loved by somebody. So my goal is like, what is that? And obviously I'm doing like a 30-second assessment, but I
Yeah.
want every kid who sits in front of me to leave feeling better about themselves. So I am hyping them up. I'm
Yeah.
joking around with them. Um, I ask them, especially the middle school kids, because that's a hard
It is
age to
hard.
be and
Yeah.
to interact with. But I just think if you're honest with them and you're straightforward with them, you will get a decent expression. So I'm happy for the kids to do any pose they want as long as it is appropriate for school. And
Okay.
even if I get one that's not, that doesn't go into the gallery. But I'll say, hey, can I grab one shot for the yearbook? And then you can pose however you want.
Yep.
Like I don't care. You don't have to smile. That's the other thing, is I never force or even request that a student smile. They
Mm.
have full autonomy. And if they leave that picture experience feeling like they were in charge of it, then I've done my job.
Mhm.
Because I think we've all had that experience where somebody's kind of forced us to do something we don't want,
Yeah.
and you feel like you have to, and there's that power dynamic.
You're not gonna
I
get a
I
good
am not
smile
the
from
boss.
that anyway.
Yeah, you're not. They're gonna be really annoyed or really uncomfortable and
Mhm.
have a sour taste in their mouth. So I never force a smile, and I offer. I'm like, would you like to smile? For the all the old people back home who love you, and if you don't want
Yeah.
to, absolutely fine. And usually, I can get like a hint of a grin at that, and that's the
Yeah.
moment you snap the picture.
Yes.
So
Ah,
it helps.
so good, so good. I feel like that actually segues into the next thing I was thinking of so well. In all of our training with Portraits for Patriots, I feel like we've had similar conversations of like, don't just sit your subject in front of your camera and say smile. Like, you've got
Yeah.
to find out a way to interact with them and just bring out that like natural expression. Um,
Hmm.
so I guess my question for you, with all of the training now that we've done with Portraits for Patriots, that is much more adult focused than kid
Yeah.
focused. But, to me, headshots are headshots. I would love to know if you agree with that. And if there's anything that we have talked about that just hasn't translated well, or vice versa with your experience with schools.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference I've found is that I need to slow down when I'm doing the headshots, because I'm
Okay.
used to cycling. I'm like, I've
Sure.
got 30 seconds. I got to get you through. And so I think in the training, especially watching the tiny little tweaks that they make, that's quite different, because I'm after three unique shots in a short
Hmm.
time frame.
Hmm.
So that's definitely been a learning curve for me. And then I'm used to interacting with elementary, middle school, and high schoolers. And
Yes.
so I'm like, oh, how do I
Maybe your jokes don't
can I make
translate to your
can I
adults.
make a fart joke to a grown up? Probably not. Like
Yes.
they
I
don't,
mean, maybe they
they're
might laugh.
yeah. So yeah, my standard like prompts and things are I've had to amend that, but I do still think it stands to reason that if you can make somebody feel empowered and good
Yeah.
about themselves, and if you can give not fluff, but like a genuine compliment about something that you see in them that you really admire or you think is beautiful, naturally that
Yeah.
confidence is going to come out.
Yeah.
Um, I I do photograph staff, so I do
Okay.
have like some
Yeah.
experience with that, and across the board, especially women are like, I hate having my picture taken, or that comment like, can you take 20 pounds off? Can you take away my double
Yep.
chins? And I'm like, why do we talk like this about ourselves? Because I just see a human sitting in front of me that has so much value beyond that.
Yes.
So I try to defer, like, obviously you want to acknowledge if that's the way someone's feeling, but also like you're so much more than that. And so
Yeah.
let's change the conversation, and let's talk about how beautiful your skin looks under this lighting, or like how great you're doing with minimal movements. And yes, this is awkward, but you're nailing it.
Yes.
So yeah, I think just um taking my time has been a thing to learn. But then the rest of it definitely still translates, and it's been really
Yeah.
fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, your comment about like why do we say these things about ourselves really resonates. I was talking with someone about that recently. Like, you would never say that to somebody else about them. So like,
Never.
why are we so hard on ourselves?
We just
Um,
are. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's hard. Well, that is all super interesting, and I hope it's helpful for another photographer who's maybe interested in getting into school photos. I know for me, it's I actually have recently had a few different people ask me like, "Oh, do you do school pictures?" And I'm like, "No." Like, why? When I say I'm a photographer, like it's funny that that's where your head goes, but
Yeah.
I totally see the appeal of, like solid seasonal work. Like you can batch
Yep.
a lot of the things, you can automate a lot of the things. So I hope that if someone else is considering doing this, that this little peek at what things looks like for you is helpful to them. But I would
Absolutely.
love to totally shift gears, because one of the reasons we started this interview series is because there was a lot of interest in who we are as people outside of being Milspouse photographers. A lot of that is part of our identity, sure, but we're also
Yeah.
much more than that too. And so I would love for you to take a couple minutes and share a little bit about the Tova outside of military life and photography life. What do you like to do for fun? What's your family like?
Yeah. So I love to travel. It is probably one of my most favorite things, and learn about new cultures and especially food. My husband,
Ooh,
I mentioned that he was in the fighter jet
okay.
world for a long
Hmm.
time. The past 3 years, he has been on a special duty, and he's effectively been working as a private chef. So the military sent him to culinary school.
What? That
Yeah,
is so cool.
it's really crazy. It's the position is called an enlisted aide, and so you're a private chef for a general. And so that was always one of our retirement plans, was that he would go to culinary school, and we would open up a pub and in England,
Oh my
and have our
goodness.
own like restaurant.
Is this still the
So
plan?
this is, yeah, it is still the plan. So we are
Okay.
moving to England in the next couple of months. We don't have the pub yet, but I have big plans to set up kind of one-off dinner parties, or like weekend grills where he
Sure.
can smoke. So I love marketing. I love advertising. My degrees in graphic design. So
Okay.
that side of business development is really fun. And he's an incredible chef. So that's like a big focus, is traveling and trying new foods, and then adding those recipes to our list of someday menu items when we do our pub or our pop-up restaurant.
That is
So
so
yeah, that's a
cool.
big one.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing that he makes? Or is that too hard of
He
a
is
question?
it is hard, but he is incredible at smoking meat. And
Okay.
I'm not even really a huge meat eater, but he's from North Carolina, so he does like
Okay.
the vinegar-based barbecue, all of that. But probably my favorite thing that he makes for me is enchiladas, because when we were
Oh,
overseas, it's hard to find
okay.
Mexican food, like good Mexican food, and his
Yeah.
enchiladas are incredible. Yeah,
Oh, that
that's my
sounds
favorite.
so good. It's
Yeah.
funny, that reminds me, when we were stationed in Albuquerque, you could like close your eyes and reach for the shelf in the grocery
Yes.
store and grab good salsa. And I like did
Yep.
not realize how good we had it until we PCS to DC, and like the first like 5 different kinds we bought, I'm like, this is gross. Like we had
Not
it
the
so good.
same.
I know, I know. We definitely got spoiled with Mexican food, although they would call it New Mexican food in New Mexico.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
but oh, that is so cool. So going back to England, then do you guys imagine you'll travel a lot? Obviously you'll be busy building a restaurant if that's, part of the initial plan, but what do you think travels will look like for you guys there?
I think to begin with, we just want to be back in England. We were there for 7 years
Okay.
and it just feels like home. And
Yeah.
even though we were there for 7 years, and it's a small country, there's still so many parts of it that we want to see.
Yeah.
So a big one is with our closest friends. We want to do, I'm going to forget the name of it because they just told me, but there's like a 500-mile loop from England all the way through Scotland and back down
Wow.
that you can take. And so
Okay.
that's like top of the bucket list. And then definitely go back to mainland Europe. We try to
Yeah.
go to Greece every summer. If you
Oh,
ever want to go to Greece,
oh
I've
my
got the
gosh.
most amazing villa that I can recommend. And
Ah,
it's
yes,
dirt
that is one
cheap.
of my
Like
dream vacation spots. Absolutely.
it's on the island of Corfu. It's tiny and it's a villa with a private pool and your steps from the beach. And for like a week, it's maybe $1,000.
What?
It's so yes, and it's a private villa with your own pool. I will so if anybody wants that recommendation, let me
Oh
know
my
because
gosh, that's
it's
amazing.
phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've actually the only place in Europe I've been is England. We went there
Okay.
for our honeymoon a hot minute ago. And yeah, but from what I hear for people who have been stationed there is it's so easy to travel in and out of other
It is.
countries there. And so that sounds like a really cool opportunity. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, to go back to Greece would be great.
I know. All like literally anywhere. I'm happy to go anywhere. I
Yes.
just I love going somewhere new
You're
and
like, just take me on a
meeting
trip.
people, experiencing it. Yeah. I'm in every
Oh,
time.
yeah, that is awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear more about this pub endeavor. That sounds so exciting. And if I'm ever there, I'll have to come see you guys.
Yeah, come see us. We would love to
Yeah,
have you.
that would be awesome. Well, I love to wrap up these calls with the same question for everybody. And I might already know the answer because of what we've
Okay.
just talked about, but I'll ask it to you anyway. If you could be stationed anywhere for 2 years, where would you go and why?
I mean, England. Have to say
Back to
Lake and Heath.
England. Okay.
But yeah, because that's a no-brainer. My
Yeah.
second choice, though, I think I would love to go to Japan because we've
Okay.
never been to that part of the world.
Yeah.
And all of my friends who've been there have absolutely loved it, and they've said the
Yeah.
kindness and generosity of the Japanese people is unmatched, and
Hmm.
that's very in line with the way that I like to live life. So I think that would be a very cool
That's
assignment.
amazing. That's a popular answer to this question,
Is
actually.
it?
So
Okay.
maybe we should all just go take a trip to Japan.
Yeah, I'm in.
That's awesome. All right. Well, what if we wrap up? Just have you share where people can find you if they want to connect either about Lake and Heath things or school photos things. Tell people where they can find you.
Yep. So my website is bytovehansen.com. It's Tove, even though it's pronounced Tova. And you can also find me on Instagram. That's probably where I'm more active
Hmm.
at by Tove Hansen. Sometimes on Facebook, but yeah, primarily website and Instagram is where you can find my stuff. And if you have any questions about school photography or life in England or Germany, I'm an open book. I'm happy to share. I love sharing. Um, and yeah, nothing's off limits. So if you got questions or you want resources, definitely send me a message and I will answer straight back.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate having you here today. And good luck with the upcoming move. I hope things go smoothly for you and the transition is seamless to civilian life, I guess.
I know. Thank you.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
exciting and scary and all of the feelings all at the same
Yes,
time.
totally, totally. Well, thanks again. You'll have to keep in touch, keep us posted on how things go, and we will talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, Tova.
Bye.